Hi, I wanted to make a quick video showing some of my favorite features in one of my very favorite apps, which is Boomerang. Boomerang can be added to your Gmail. It can actually also be added to Outlook. My video is going to focus on Gmail since that is what I use. So basically you add this to your Gmail. It is free to use to get started. I do have a paid subscription, so some of the features that I'll show you are paid features. Basically, you can get started and you get to use it 10 times in a month for free, and then if you want to use it more, you would have to pay to upgrade. Boomerang has become such an important part of my workflow, and I wanted to highlight that in this video today. Gmail does have some of the features, like their snooze and now their send later, but I still see a lot of value added in Boomerang, and that's what I want to showcase today. So the first thing, if I just send a sample email to myself, I get the send and the send later. One thing that I really like is if I'm going to send an email, but I want to make sure that I follow up on that email if the person doesn't reply, I can say boomerang this in, and I can boomerang it at a specific day, a specific time. So I could give them a week to reply. But if I don't hear from them, if no reply, then I want it to come back at me, and it will. So I can send this email, get it out of my mind, not need to remember, hey, I need to follow up, hey, I need to follow up, hey, I need to follow up. I don't need to set a calendar reminder to follow up. Boomerang will remind me. If this is an email that I should be following up on regardless, I can choose regardless. I want this to come back at me in a week so I remember to follow up on something. So I would do boomerang this in 1 week if no reply, and I'm going to send it now. I want to send this one right now. It's going to come back at me in 1 week if, in this case, I don't reply to myself. So now I have an email in my inbox, and I can use this boomerang feature up here, and I can say, you know what? I'm not ready to deal with this email today, but I'm ready to deal with it tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So instead of having to choose it from the calendar, one other thing that I love is that I can just say, tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then press the enter key, confirm that I want it to come back to me tomorrow at 10 a.m. and understands that language. I could even say Monday at 2 p.m. I can also choose to add a note. So say that I want this to come back and I want to remember something. You can do that, and then it will come back at me Monday at 2 p.m. along with my little note so that I remember what I wanted to do to follow up. I can choose to only boomerang this if there's no reply or regardless, and then confirm. So once I do that, I'm going to just do it for 1 minute from now. You'll see that there's no new email. That email is gone from my inbox. Where it's gone is it's gone into my boomerang folder. It just has gotten this boomerang label and it will come back at me. So I'm going to wait 1 minute until that email comes back. Okay, so now that email has come back at me and it's come with this note that I made to myself, remember something. So the email came back along with my note right here. So I personally like to keep my email really clean. I just tend to archive any email that I've dealt with, and for things that I need to follow up on, I will boomerang it to the appropriate time. I usually know a time range when I can deal with that. Another thing that I tend to do is articles that I want to read. I set aside a certain time in my schedule to read my articles, and I like to read them all at once. So say it's going to be Thursday at 12 p.m. Say that I have a half an hour time that I'm going to block off to read a bunch of education articles that I want to follow up on. I would just go ahead and I would boomerang this for Thursday at 12 p.m. All of my articles will come back at me at that time, so I get them out of my inbox because I don't want to just be reading articles all day, but I kind of try and set aside certain hours to do that on certain days. And so then I just boomerang it, get it out of my inbox for now, and then I will get back to it during the time that I've set aside that I'm going to be reading and taking notes on it to hopefully be in that creative mindset at that moment. The other thing that's offered is this inbox pause, which is really great. I can bring in messages on a schedule. So I've set up a schedule here for myself, and those are the times that emails come to me. Once I press pause, I will only get them delivered at those certain times. You can set up delivery exceptions so that you're sure to get emails from certain people. So that's kind of like a little VIP list that you can have, and then you would pause your inbox. You can always unpause it if you need to. Really, your messages are just going into a folder, so you can always cheat the system, but it does help you stick to a schedule if you want to do that sort of thing. So I do appreciate that. I can unpause it at any time. You can manually pause and unpause, or you can set the schedule like I just showed you there. There are some settings so that you can customize it for yourself. I personally love the keyboard shortcuts. That's one of my favorite things. So I would just hit the B button on my keyboard and then say that I want this to come back at 7:30 p.m. today, and it'll just come back to me at that time. I did not even need to touch my mouse in order to do that. If I needed to go find that email, it's in my Boomerang. It now has a Boomerang label on it, and that's why it's in there. And then emails that I've scheduled for later are in my Boomerang outbox. I can also go over here to manage scheduled messages, and I can see everything on a calendar. I actually have a bunch of emails that are coming back to me tomorrow at noon that I want to handle. I know I have time then tomorrow, and I'm going to handle all those emails tomorrow. So sometimes I like to look at it on the calendar view here. There's also a list view, but I'm not going to show you all my individual emails that I have in here because I have a lot that I've boomeranged. It's, again, just how I organize my workflow. I will say one of the things that has been super great for me, especially in my role, is that I need to remember to follow up with people on certain things. Maybe they tell me, hey, I want to do that project with you, but not until I get into chapter 4, and that's going to happen mid-January. I will boomerang that message to me back mid-January. Also, if I'm troubleshooting something and I need to get back to a teacher and I've emailed a company, for example, I really, really love sending and doing this boomerang in, 2 days or so, if no reply, so that I remember to follow up with that teacher regardless and that tech company so that I don't forget anything, but I don't need to constantly be remembering these things either. It just alleviates all that pressure to remember it all in my brain, which can just get overloaded and overwhelmed when we're trying to remember too many things. And so that's why Boomerang has become my second brain. It just remembers things for me. I'm super organized with it, and I'm just super quick because this is my workflow. And as you can see, this message came back at me. So that means I've been talking for 2 more minutes. It's time for me to go. I hope this is helpful. Bye.